gentlemen, boys, and girls, welcome back to another episode of Mind Your Biz Monday. I'm your host, Seth Estrada, and tonight's episode is just a little bit different. First off, I want to thank you for tuning in. Oh my gosh, tuning in live tonight. I've got the hiccups and got the occasional little burp coming up. Had a really fun evening with my family tonight, and so I hope you'll forgive me for being a little bit late, and I hope you forgive my case of the hiccups that apparently is very pervasive. Tonight's format is a little bit different from usual. Instead of interviewing a guest, having a live interview as I typically do tonight, I want to go over a couple of really important recent goings on within the cryptosphere, DeFi news, Bitcoin price action, as well as some predictions from some experts in this space. You can tell I'm coming to you live because, hey, if I was editing this, why would I leave that stuff in, right? So thank you so much for being along for the ride. As always, huge shout out to our sponsor, MineYour.Biz. We have on special tonight our hats. It's that time of year, right? Where if you're like me and you keep a really close shave to the head, really close cut to the noggin, then you're definitely going to need hats this time of year. We've got the bucket caps. We've got typical 5-panel hats. We've got mesh back trucker caps. We've got visors. We've got beanies, or toques, as our friends north of the border call them. And we've got them for all of the hottest projects within cryptocurrency and DeFi. So not just Bitcoin, though we love and revere Bitcoin as a project. We absolutely hold it dearly. But also Monero, the king of private coins in terms of market cap and market penetration. We also have Zelle merch. We are, in fact, not an official partner with the Zelle core ecosystem or the Zelle project, but we do carry a lot of their designs, and we're on very friendly terms with them. We so much appreciate that they've allowed us to carry some of their exclusive designs, as well as some Haven protocol designs too. You can find all kinds of great stuff there at MineYour.Biz, and then enter the shop. You can even pay with cryptocurrency non-custodially. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, just wanted to go over the news really, really fast. And tonight we've got a lesson where we go over how to create your own private cryptocurrency wallet. Now, to be very clear about tonight's lesson, after we go through the news, I'm going to show you how to create your own cryptocurrency wallet that does not require you to A, have an internet connection, or B, reveal it to anybody else. That's right. You can generate the private keys. You can generate the public addresses, many of them, and you can record all this information offline and then have it someplace safe, someplace secret and safe, including the seed phrase and anything else that you need to back up in order to have your cryptocurrency wallet totally safe. All right, so let's jump back into it. Tonight's news starts with DeFi, right? And DeFi right now, it's all the hotness. It's all the rage. Thank you so much again, guys, for being subscribed. Appreciate y'all. Here's something for our brand new subscribers. You guys are dope. So DeFi, another day, another disaster, right? Another day, another rug pull. And this time it's not from the side of the Harvest Finance project that you'd expect. This is about, this is not quite day old news. This is very, very fresh right now, but millions of dollars of value siphoned out of the Harvest Finance project. However, ironically, after all of this value was pulled out of Harvest Finance, Uniswap did its best day ever. That's right. Uniswap surpassed Coinbase in daily transaction volume several days ago or several weeks ago, and now it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. I want to say that today was a $2 billion day for Uniswap, and that's just mind-boggling that there's a $2 billion day for Uniswap, that's even possible in a decentralized protocol like Uniswap. And I find this to be a very bullish piece of news. I'm very happy that Uniswap and that decentralized protocols, and hopefully into the future, decentralized exchanges are replacing the Coinbases and the BitPays and the Cash Apps of the world. I think it's absolutely, especially Binance and Poloniex and all of those exchanges, I think it's extremely important for us to try to start using decentralized protocols. However, we see that there are a lot of growing pains with projects like Harvest Finance, where Harvest Finance lost tens of millions of dollars in their market cap value to thieves, right? So some people say this is a weakness of Ethereum. Others say this is a strength. For my part, I'm still just kind of, I'm smiling from the sidelines. I'm not actively yield farming, and I'm not actively trying to get in on the next 10x on Uniswap. I have had some fun there, but I'm just kind of playing it safe these days. That's what my family needs me to do. You tell me in the comments section, what do you think of DeFi, and specifically projects like Harvest Finance and all these yield farming projects on Uniswap? Are you involved? Are you interested? Do you think they're a healthy bet in terms of finding good ROI? I mean, it seems like, generally speaking, where there's high risk, there's high reward. Are you okay with that? Let me know in the comments section. Moving on, another bit of news that's very bullish, this is in beincrypto.com, or from beincrypto.com, is that Ethereum 2.0 is nearly ready for launch. That's right. All of the audits have come back positive. It's only been good news for Ethereum 2.0. Now, to be very, very clear, I wasn't so sure what would happen with Ethereum 2.0. I was a little bit on the fence myself. A lot of people in the cryptocurrency mining community, the GPU mining community, this is extremely important to us, because if Ethereum 1.0 ceases to be GPU mineable, it takes away the incentive to participate, right? Miners no longer have that incentive to join in if it's not GPU mineable. And right now, outside of Bitcoin, the highest amount of value that's being derived by miners from cryptocurrency really is in Ethereum. It's not just a question of market cap. It's a question of new coins emitted. It's a question of total network hash rate. It's a question of community interest. And it's a question of people feeling like it's a safe bet and reliable for them to flip the switch on their mining rig and know that 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, a week or two later, they will definitely be able to cash in those coins and see a return on the time, effort, and energy invested. And Ethereum does that extremely well. So jumping back into the news here, with Ethereum 2.0 being so close, it's a bit of a mixed bag for a lot of cryptocurrency miners, a lot of GPU miners. They're just not certain if this is going to work out well for them. And I can't say I blame them. It's a giant question mark. However, I think overall bullish, because once Ethereum 2.0 does launch, all it will introduce is staking. But going over some of the article here, they say that it's ready to deliver phase 0 in the very near future. And the projected launch date is sometime in November for 2020, kind of coinciding with the election cycle for the President of the United States here. I don't think that was intentional. However, that's where we are right now. The development team for Ethereum claims that Ethereum 2.0 could be here before the end of the year. You tell me down in the comments section, does that change any of your plans, knowing that staking may be coming to Ethereum via Ethereum 2.0, and that even with Ethereum 1.0 still functioning into the future with proof of work, that Ethereum 2.0 could be coexisting with it? What are your thoughts there? Does that change any of your plans, any of your investment strategy, any of your mining strategy? For the GPU miners that are watching right now, what does Ethereum 2.0 mean to you? Is it a threat? Is it bullish? Is it actually a boon? Or does it signal something much more dangerous for GPU mining in the future? What are your thoughts on that? All right. Moving along in the news cycle, this is from AMB Crypto, and the question is, should Ethereum no longer be classified as an altcoin? Well, let's talk about that just a little bit, guys. What do you mean classified as an altcoin? Well, maybe. I think it's fair to say that any coin that isn't Bitcoin could be classified as an altcoin to the Bitcoin purists and the Bitcoin maximalists. If you've been in the space for an extremely long time, and I mean as early, we'll say, as 2012 or 2011, almost every other project that you've ever seen that isn't Bitcoin would look like an altcoin to you. And because this whole nascent industry is so young, it's fair to say that to anybody from the outside looking in who's just now checking in, anything that isn't Bitcoin is an altcoin. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Google Trends live during our broadcast right now. And I'd like to show you something as we search through Google Trends. So I'll just show you right now. Here we are on Google Trends. This is a website that many people use for their research to figure out what's actually happening in the world. And I'm going to type in Bitcoin as a search term, not as the currency, not as a definition or anything else. this is the trend as to how frequently people searched that term Bitcoin in the last, say, it looks like not 6 months. Yeah, no, 1 year. And it looks like the peak of popularity was sometime in May. And then again in July, between July and August. And those peaks represent the maximum interest over time. Now let's go ahead and type in Ethereum. And Ethereum, as a search term, again, not as a topic, not as a cryptocurrency. By comparison, you see that red line is Ethereum, that blue line is Bitcoin. By comparison, Ethereum just does not enjoy as much attention from the average person using Google trying to find out more about cryptocurrencies. Now, just for one more comparison's sake, let's add in just the generic term cryptocurrency, and we will see. I was really hoping it would try to auto-suggest that, but cryptocurrency as a third option here. And yeah, it's a little bit lower than Ethereum at some points, but at other points, it's actually much higher search volume than Ethereum. In fact, almost double the search volume over Ethereum as recently as July, right? The 4th of July, week of the 4th of July, and only not that far after, when Bitcoin was surging in popularity, did Ethereum overtake cryptocurrency. So it's really kind of rare when Ethereum hits the sort of public consciousness for anybody who's paying attention from the outside of cryptocurrency, where they might think like, oh yeah, Ethereum is probably an old school project, a bit like Bitcoin, and I can trust in Ethereum because it's just like Bitcoin, right? It's a fundamentally early version of a cryptocurrency and a network protocol that enables more to happen within the cryptocurrency scene. I don't think many people are thinking that. I think that what most people are viewing and what most people are thinking is what you see right over here, right? So what you see with this interest over time, people just kind of paying attention to Ethereum when the price action is interesting or when their friends tell them, hey, this Ethereum thing could be big. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button while you're here. Definitely your support makes this possible. Really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you tuning in live and sharing the link so more people can check out this content real time. BLK Money says, I should be asleep, but I'm here. Well, appreciate you being here, brother. Thanks so much for chiming in the comment section as well. While you are here, guys, I'm going to, again, shamelessly mention that tonight's episode is brought to you by hats at MineYour.Biz. So if you see that showing up in the live comment section, please go ahead and click on that link. Any interest that you show over on the website is a strong show of support, and it helps support free and independent media. So, guys, talking about Ethereum, again, should Ethereum be considered no longer considered classified as an altcoin? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think that the search data from Google indicates to me maybe it's too early for that. Maybe. But you tell me down in the comments section, what is your gut feeling on Ethereum being classified as no longer an altcoin, but as maybe a network protocol that empowers Bitcoin? I mean, what with there being more wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum than there is on the Lightning Network, more Bitcoin flowing through Ethereum than there is on the Lightning Network. Should we be confident and comfortable with Ethereum no longer being classified as an altcoin? I'm not sure, but you tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. Because frankly, for a lot of this stuff, I really am just along for the ride. I'm relatively new when it comes to, within cryptocurrency terms, still, frankly, a relatively new guy. Let me go ahead and, real time. I'm going to adjust my camera here. Whoa, that's a little trippy that I can do that, right? Oh, well, welcome to the future. Guys, let's jump back into the news cycle here. I think that question for me was what fascinated me, why I put it onto the news cycle tonight. But let's get into some Bitcoin news. Bitcoin news. Okay, that's enough of that. Good grief. I don't know why I brought back the soundboard, but it's kind of fun, right? Right? Okay, maybe it's not that much fun. Maybe I'm having fun with it, and that's why I brought it back. So, Tone Vase. Oh my gosh, I think that live viewers literally just went to 0 when I said the name Tone Vase. Guys, let me be very, very clear here. I'm not a Tone Vase loyalist, but he's in the news, and he has an opinion. Let's see what Tone Vase has to say. Tone Vase says that Bitcoin could break out. It's just not over yet. It could break out to an additional 300% rally within the next 6 months. I think that's extremely generous, but at the same time, if 2020 has taught us anything, if there's anything to learn from the year 2020, it is that we should expect the unexpected. Am I right? 2020 has been a year full of surprises, and I think that with Bitcoin price and with altcoin price, especially with Monero price, we should not let ourselves be taken off guard. Monero price, if that's any indicator of people's interest in privacy, and Bitcoin, of course, being sort of what most plebs are going to come into the space thinking is a private coin that isn't USD. I think that Monero really does show us a strong case for Bitcoin, maybe not hitting 300% in the next 6 months. Maybe it's 200%. I don't know. But, I'm not a technical analyst. None of this stuff is legal, financial, business advice. In fact, on that note, here you go. There's a little disclaimer on that regard. None of the stuff is business advice or technical analysis. I'm not really trying to offer any kind of market analysis for an actual Bitcoin prediction, but I am going to bring up right here with what Tone Vase is saying in terms of there being a 300% rally potentially in Bitcoin's future in the next 6 months. I wonder if maybe Monero kind of can give us a little bit of that preview of what the general public will think of Bitcoin. Now, hear me out. I've been tracking Monero over the last several months. If you're following me on Twitter, it's just at MineYour.Biz. If you've been tracking me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I've been tracking the price of Monero daily, and I haven't been tracking it in US dollars. I've been tracking it in its Satoshi value. Why does that matter? It matters because Bitcoin, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you think the work is complete, or you think it's finished, or you think it's flawless, or you think it's needs bigger blocks or smaller blocks, or it needs a second layer, I don't care. Bitcoin is the de facto reserve currency of cryptocurrency, right? It's the de facto gold standard of crypto. So everything is measured in Bitcoin as the unit of account, period. If you're not measuring altcoins against Bitcoin as the unit of account, then, or if they can't even be measured in Satoshis, then they're just not there yet, period. They just haven't matured enough. And so any new cryptocurrency project or even a token project, if it doesn't know what its Satoshi value is, then it just has to go back to the drawing board. I've been measuring Monero over the last several months, and I've seen a pretty awesome trend with Monero. That is that Monero has gone from about 0.0068 Bitcoin per Monero all the way up to 0.01, all nearly 0.0115 in the last several months. It's gone up significantly, not quite up to double, but we're getting there. And the trend is still positive for Monero against Bitcoin. If that's true for Monero against Bitcoin, and again, those of us who are within the cryptocurrency space know that Monero offers greater privacy and greater pseudonymity and anonymity and protection, data privacy protection, or data protection and financial protection a la digital cash than Bitcoin does, then in my mind, the trend that we're going to see in the near future when the unwashed masses come and say, okay, we need a flight to safety, we need a flight to privacy, we need a flight to something more secure, something more stable, something that isn't the US dollar, something that isn't the pound sterling, something that isn't the yuan, something that isn't the yen, right? Everybody's saying that. When that finally does happen, I think that that the Monero to Bitcoin price serves as a bit of a microcosm and as a bit of a foreshadowing for how that's going to play out for Bitcoin. So while Tone Vase is saying 300% rally, I don't know, maybe. That doesn't sound crazy to me because we've seen almost a 200% rally within Monero to Bitcoin over the last several months. As those of us who are already in the know, we've kind of already said like, okay, Monero is a good place to be. And I think that that's reasonable. Again, hashtag not advice, but that's just what I've been tracking. I don't think that the numbers lie in past performance. I don't think there's any lies there, right? That Monero definitely has. It's not a function of opinion. It's not a function of anybody's TA lines or projections. It's a fact. It's already on the books. The order books are already closed, right? And the blockchain tells the story. Monero has almost doubled in price against its Bitcoin value over the last 3 to 6 months. So if what Tone Vase is, if he's not totally smoking hopium, then that's not outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, again, I don't often find myself agreeing with Tone Vays. I don't really follow him very often. I'm no Tone Vays loyalist, but he may be onto something. So bullish, definitely recent price action and future projections from some of these folks are obviously bullish. So, yeah, Vays, he says that the push above the resistance level of 12,000, it's not over yet. And I tend to agree with him, though I don't offer any kind of technical analysis. So I couldn't tell you what that's going to look like, how that'll shape up. Some people are saying like, hey, mark the date, right, of September 9th, the last time that we saw $10,000 Bitcoin. Maybe that's legit, but I won't make comment on that either. Another data point for Bitcoin price. Let's talk about what Pomp has said. All right. So when you talk about Tone Vays, you got to talk about Pomp in the same video. That's my take on it, at least, guys, right? I'm not just going to get the news from one source. And for as much as I love some of the other commentators in the space, guys like Ivan on Tech and BitBoy and all the rest, these are the guys that like right now, Tone Vays and Anthony Pompliano, they are talking to the leaders of industry. They're not just talking to our little microcosm. So I try to weight their opinion a little bit heavier. It's not that they're always right. It's not that they're paying attention to the rest of the altcoin scene the way that we would be when we're also evaluating GPU mineable projects or all of the other possibilities within the DeFi and altcoin space. As much as because they're so hyper-focused on Bitcoin, I tend to believe that the market indicators that they're looking at, that I should pay attention to them. And frankly, there's just not enough hours in the day for me to look over all the material that they look over and to reach out to the people they can talk to and to have the connections that they have. So I love seeing their take on it as well. Back into the news here, Anthony Pompliano, he just goes over again, not what he thinks Bitcoin could do in the future over the next 6 months. He just regales us with the story of Bitcoin's dominance throughout this year. The order books are written. The ink is dry. The ledger is set. The Bitcoin blockchain, like those blocks are written, right? So the blockchain has spoken. All this price action has happened in the past. So while it's not necessarily an indicator of future performance, it also kind of is, right? It does help us understand and interpret what may happen in the future a little bit better. So Pomp is saying, hey, over the last year, it's outperformed every other asset class. And he kind of dances on the grave of Peter Schiff and dances on the grave of Dave Portnoy. And you know what? They kind of had it coming, and I'm pretty sure they knew it, right? Dave Portnoy has been a really good sport about the whole thing, but there are a lot of people like Anthony Pompliano that are frankly dancing on his grave right now after he let go of his Bitcoin and his Link, right? He did hold some Chainlink as well. So interesting stuff going on there. Guys, let's take just a really quick breather right now. And gosh, I really wish that I had like a glass of water or something, I'm just going to have to use some compressed air to just sort of like cool myself down a little bit. While I do that, go ahead and drop some questions down in the comments section. Okay. Whew. Dusted off, ready to go. Okay. No questions? Let's head at it, guys. So here is tonight's lesson, and I'm super excited about this. This is the value-added content that I'd like to be able to bring more frequently, because here we are, 25 minutes into the broadcast, and you've gone through the full gamut of news, talking about Bitcoin, talking about Ethereum, talking about DeFi, talking about price action, talking about Monero as well, which you may or may not have been aware of, those prices against Bitcoin. And now you're going to get in a lesson for how to secure your keys. Who does this? This guy. Because, if I'm going to show up, I want to make sure it's worth your time. BLK Money asks, how do you feel about wrapped BTC? Well, I really appreciate you asking, BLK Money. As far as wrapped BTC, I think it's a very, very interesting space. You have WBTC and several other projects that are technically centralized, and you'd have to look at the smart contract code to know for sure whether or not that's the case for other forms of wrapped BTC. Not the WBTC variety of wrapped BTC, but the fact that, there are all these other like players in the space on Ethereum that are wrapping Bitcoin to have it be transferable on Ethereum. Apparently, Ren BTC is extremely popular and meant to be a little bit more decentralized than wrapped BTC or WBTC. But even that one, as I've heard, I haven't explored for myself. As I've heard from third parties, it is not as decentralized as most of us in the space would like. one of the dangers of having Bitcoin on Ethereum is that it's still bound by smart contracts that are in turn bound by the desires and the code written by people, right? So people say, oh, code is law. No. Code is speech. Speech is by people. And if you don't agree with their speech, you should not touch their code, right? So I think that having Bitcoin on Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, definitely on the one hand could be a plus, but on the other hand, if you're not extremely careful about what type of wrapped Bitcoin you use, could be very dangerous. BLK Money goes on to comment, I can't wrap my head around it. It seems silly to me. I can't disagree with that sentiment. I think if you're concerned about it, don't touch it and wait until there is a stronger body of evidence by third parties, or there is the green light by third-party auditors that say, yeah, this wrapped Bitcoin is like a decentralized and disintermediated wrapped Bitcoin. And this other, air quotes, wrapped Bitcoin is essentially just, whatever. It's a trust fund group that's trying to gank you out of more of your Bitcoin, basically, right? They're trying to steal your stuff because that's totally the case. That can totally be the case on platforms like Uniswap. Again, I sang their praises earlier on in the video, but there's also a real risk inherent with these decentralized platforms and unaudited code and smart contracts, in that you can put value in and the smart contract can state explicitly, can be explicitly published, but you'd have to know how to read it. It can explicitly say, yeah, you can put value in, but you don't get all of your value back out, right? Like, we'll give you 80% back. It does seem silly to me as well that exists and people fall for it, right? We need easier ways to audit these smart contracts, and we need third parties to maybe even volunteer for a time or get community funding, come up with various community sources of funding to tell smart contract auditors like, hey, this is showing promise, please audit it. Don't let the community get wrecked on stuff like this, because if you've got 15 Bitcoin, doesn't sound like much right now, but in the next 3 to 5 years, 10 years, 15 Bitcoin, it's going to be a lot compared to the next guy or gal. So if you lose any amount of that in a bad smart contract because you tried to get it wrapped onto Ethereum right now during the early days of air quotes wrapped Ethereum, could be disastrous. I totally agree. Great question, BLK Money. Really appreciate that. Let me send you the air horns. Oh, snap. Awesome questions, guys. Awesome questions. If you're not following me on Twitter, it is at MineYour_Biz. When you do, give me a shout out for tonight's episode and I will send you some hugs. It's a token that was created just for viewers of the media, and it's just a community token to show my appreciation, show my esteem for you. So thank you again for that question there. You are awesome. So moving on. So right here, we can see that even Pomp is also saying that it's up 300% since the March lows. Bitcoin's price action is extremely, it's just extremely encouraging as per Pomp's perspective, right? He says it's pretty awesome. It's already shown 300%. The fact that ToneVase would take that and then say, yeah, we're going to see another 300% in the next 6 months, I don't know. ToneVase is a perma bull, right? So you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. And then, yeah, when it comes to Pomp, he's a bit of a realist, but he's not. I don't know that I've ever seen him actually be bearish, right? So they're both kind of perma bulls. You listen to the two of them, and they're always telling you, well, Bitcoin's going to the moon. It's like, great, what does that mean? Well, it means maybe 300%. Okay, awesome. What I like about Pomp's take here is that he's talking about year to date, right? 2020 has been a really great year for Bitcoin. Hopefully, right? Fingers crossed, that trend continues. Okay, guys, so let's go over our lesson for the night. If you are sitting at a computer, then you can do this live alongside me. If you are not, that's no problem. But I'm dropping into the live chat right now a link that goes straight to GitHub. This is, I just want you to know, this is a safe link to follow. It does go straight to github.com, and there is free and open source code at the end of this link for you to follow. It should be in the description of this video as well after we go live. But let's go back to our small scale view here. This is the mnemonic code converter, or by any other name, it's Ian Coleman's BIP39 tool. Now it looks really Spartan. It's just a bunch of, okay, I'm going to zoom a little bit. It looks like it's just a bunch of inputs here. And I'm going to change around my screen just a little bit more. And here we go. Move out of the way. Oop. Even more so we can see a little more of what's on the screen here. So this is Ian Coleman's BIP39 tool. You can use this offline. And in fact, I'm in offline mode right now. Let me pull this out of like away from the desktop there and show this right here. You can see that I am not online. That's not, that right there is not an HTTP. That's a file, local file that I'm using right now. So the link that I gave to you guys is this on GitHub, the releases section of Ian Coleman's BIP39 repository. If this is kind of nerdy, guys, if this is kind of Greek to you, don't be overwhelmed, okay? It's just a tool, and GitHub is just a place where programmers will keep all the parts and pieces of the tools that they make and usually package up those tools in a download for you to use under the releases section of their repository, kind of the garage where they keep all these parts and pieces for these tools. So the virtual garage, we'll say, or the virtual bucket where they keep all these bits. So please don't be intimidated by this. It's just code, and Ian Coleman is a known good actor in the space who's been working on this code base for a long time, and it runs offline. Okay, so here we are on the BIP39 tool. It runs entirely offline, and what's great about it is you can choose the number of words that you want in order to create your own entropy. It's pretty amazing. And then you can generate, there we go. You saw that little warning right there that it took just a second, and I was using my computer's CPU to generate these words right here. It says huge, lunch, trip, purity, initial, any, admit, etc., etc., etc. And I've got, let's see. It looks like, I'm trying to remember if I already have a QR code generator installed here. That's actually kind of a value add. I'm going to drop my video down to the side so you can see that full QR code. You feel free to, whatever, to use that. Gosh darn it. Okay, I got to go to the other corner. All right. But feel free to scan that if you really want to. There's a seed right there, the BIP39 seed. This is the BIP39 mnemonic. But the mnemonic, or the 24-phrase seed, or the seed phrase, is what you would use to regenerate your Bitcoin wallet in the future if you needed to from scratch. So in order to obtain your Bitcoins or any other coins that uses a similar type of key provisioning system, you just need these 24 words and you're golden. 24 words is typically, it's considered the best practice. And anything less than that you can use, but it's not recommended because of the current state of computers, the current state of GPUs, where it's possible to be able to guess if there are too few words that go into a seed phrase. So from here, scrolling downward, you can tell it that you want it to use BIP44, BIP49, all these other derivation paths. And then it shows you all of the other relevant info for this new wallet you've just generated. Hey, Greg, thanks for letting us know you're live down in the comment section. It's good to see you. This is a live video, so you're in the right place. And right here, the derivation path, this is extremely useful. Guys, this is a tool that everybody who's just getting into cryptocurrency should know about, and anybody can learn to use it. You don't have to have an internet connection. In fact, you should put this onto a laptop or a desktop that is not plugged into the internet. So you can make all of your keys and make all of your wallets without them ever touching the World Wide Web. They just should not ever have to. So just so you know, you can always always create a new key that way. But it gives you the account extended private key, the extended public key, which is extremely helpful for other kinds of tools, the derivation path right there. And then it gives you a few sample addresses. Pretty darn cool. So I'm going to toggle off the private keys there. You can also, if I'm going to do like a video sharing moment like this, I can tell it to hide all private info and then check it out. That's pretty cool, right? It'll give you the public key. and it'll show all the public key and addresses right there. And then I can just, so if somebody were over my shoulder, I could generate this stuff and then tell them, all right, well, I've got an address for you. Boop, right there. I just clicked on that, and now a Bitcoin could be sent to that address. Now, I don't have control of this wallet, and you already saw, I've already recorded the private address and the private keys to this wallet, so please do not send anything to that QR code. It will go to whoever took that private key, right? Whoever took that private info, and I'm not going to use it, right? I just for demonstration purposes, so I'm going to chuck all this and start from scratch for the next wallet that I create. This is only for educational purposes. So yeah, please don't send anything there. Unless you want to sacrifice more Bitcoin at the altar of Satoshi, right? Just like throw Bitcoin into the ether, right? Some people actually do think that's a way to, to improve the network or whatever else. So if you're one of those types, fine, go ahead, send whatever you want. But here's what's kind of cool. When I tell it to hide all private info, it does simplify the interface a lot more. And so you can see down here, underneath BIP39 seed, I can choose the coin. Now, this is the latest version that was created by Ian Coleman. So when I click on that, what's this? There's more than just Bitcoin. So Asia coin, right? Ad coin, Aurora coin, Axe, Anon. Wow, Anon is not even that old, right? But Black coin, Black node, Block stamp, you name it, it's probably here. If it has enough popular support, it's probably supported here. So reg test, but let's see. We'll look for some other stuff that's a little bit more popular here. Bitcoin private, yes, it still exists. You might be interested in that. Bitcoin Gold, Bitcore, Canacoin, which is derived from Bitcoin, so it's got a similar wallet and key structure, UTXO structure. Callisto, which is similar to Ethereum, actually. So you might be wondering, wait, it's similar to Ethereum. I mean, you can use the same like key derivation path for Ethereum. Well, yeah, actually, let's look into that. So let's scroll down, Dash, as you would expect, because it's so similar to Bitcoin. Same with Digibyte. And then same with Dogecoin. So you can create a brand new Dogecoin wallet this way as well. But let's scroll down to where it gets interesting. Yes, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So right there, all it does is it takes the BIP44 right there and then switches the type of coin that is that's being used, or the registered coin type. All that is programmed into this tool. So now everything else about it, even like the mnemonic is the same, right? It's the same mnemonic used to derive public and private keys, but the seed is different and the root key is now different as well. So an XPRV private key is very different. Now, are there hierarchical deterministic wallets? I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here, right? Hierarchical deterministic wallets where you can create the exact same public addresses every time that you use this private key with Ethereum. Yes, there are. They're not very popular though, and I don't know why. They should be, because Bitcoin does this, and it's one of the great things about Bitcoin. It is one of the greatest strengths of Bitcoin and its derivatives, things like Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash, etc. Yeah, let's jump back into the tutorial here. For Ethereum here, now I've got a brand new public key. And if I felt like it, I'll just toggle this on. I've got all the private keys. I won't scroll over so you can't see the entire private key there. But I've got everything I need here between the address, the public key, and the private key. Toggle out that path because that's really not that important. And if I wanted to, I can just export it as a CSV, comma separated values, and then I'd have, gosh, how many wallets here? And I can just hang on to the private keys for all of those. These are brand new Ethereum wallets that have never existed before. Think about that. That's how many iterations, how many versions of these different wallets can be created through entropy and through essentially like the digital rolling of dice, right? Creating new word patterns here. These wallets haven't been used by anyone else before. And the next time that I hit that button and I tell it, right, like generate another 24 words here, the next time I hit that button, there'll be all new wallet addresses. And if you think that's trippy, check this out. scroll down here and I can tell it, you know, that's not enough addresses. Let me add 300 more rows. Says it'll take a while, but sure, no problem. See that right there, the little scroll bar on the side? Just still generating more and more and more and more and more and more. I now have about 320 brand new Ethereum addresses that I created from scratch in under 30 seconds that have never existed before, and they're private. And nobody can do a darn thing about it, and I created them offline. The idea that regulators have in their heads that they can somehow stop cryptocurrencies is insane. I hope this tutorial has showed you how insane it is, because everybody has access to tools like this, and there are even some wallet generators where you can just use dice to create the entropy, and you can work with a worksheet to get all the way up to this point. This just speeds up that process, so you have all the addresses created for you. So, all right, guys, that's the major lesson for tonight. If you remember nothing else, let me go back to the small side of the screen here. If you remember nothing else, please remember to go to the Ian Coleman BIP39 repository on GitHub, and that's right down in the description of this video. And you can download from releases, download the latest version. It's still being worked on. This was released just over a week ago. So this code is still being worked on. It's still active, and it's so incredibly important, guys. Again, big shout out to everybody who showed up in the comment section. BLK Money and Greg, thank you so much for saying hello tonight during the broadcast. Anybody who's watching this after the fact, thank you so much for checking out the chapterization, being patient with the process of a live video like this. Thank you for checking out MineYour.Biz and considering a purchase there. And of course, if you like this content, thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button, clicking the bell icon so you're notified when new videos come out. You're the reason I make this media, folks. I love your face, and I will see you in the next one.